Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Unfucking Your CX. As you know, I'm your host, Zack Hamilton. I'm really excited about today's guest. It is someone that I have followed, I have listened to her podcast, I've engaged with her on LinkedIn, and finally we've been able to make this happen. So, Brittany, welcome to the hot seat.
Hey, Zach, thanks for having me. It's so great to be here.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to today's conversation because you're one of those folks who it's like, let's cut the bullshit, let's get down to business. None of this fluffy stuff that we see a lot of time that's happening in customer experience. So, looking forward to our conversation. But before we jump in, set the scene for us. Like these conversations, they typically just don't happen. It's a safe space. Where's that for you?
Dave and Buster's.
Oh, love it. Do you have a favorite game?
Oh my gosh, every game. I don't, it's funny. So we're recording this, a couple of weeks after Christmas. The argument between me and my husband was whether or not I could get the big like Papa Shot for our kids. And
Oh,
he was
yeah.
like, it's so big. And I was like, it's not that big. It'll look great in bonus room. He may have been right. I may have been wrong. It is quite large. So the campaign that I've been on for the past couple weeks, because it's so big, it's just like still in our living room where was under the Christmas tree and then we built it for the boys. My campaign is we don't really need a dining room. And this would look much smaller if it were in a room with, an air hockey table and a claw machine and a skee ball lane and all of these other things. That's why it looks big. So my favorite game is all the games.
Yeah.
But I would move into a Dave and Buster's if that were allowed.
I love that. Our 7-year-old loves Dave and Buster's, and we just love going to it. But Papa Shot, never. Like you never outgrow a Papa Shot.
Oh yeah, well, it's so funny. I've been teasing my husband. I'm like, for somebody who was adamantly opposed to this, you have spent a lot of time trying to beat your personal best over the past couple of weeks because it's so
Right?
fun. Although, you know what I forgot? It's also very loud. I've even unplugged it a couple of times and just the like shooting and rebounding, quite loud. But if it
Yeah,
were in an arcade,
that's right.
aka
It's,
former dining room, might not sound so loud.
there you go. It sounds like an incredible makeover. Have you seen, the one game that we got our kids? Have you seen like the box ballin
Yes.
viral? Like, so we got one for our kids. It was an incredible, like 90 minutes of everyone just like, okay, I'm going to beat your record. I'm going to beat your record. I wish we would have videotaped just the first kind of like 4 or 5 tries of like trying to get down the rhythm. It was hysterical. You should try it.
Are you guys still playing it? Because I was like, I'm gonna wait and see what all my friends say because I felt like that was one that would be really popular for 3 days and then they would never play again.
Yeah, so we game night at least once a week. And that's always like, let's start with that.
Awesome.
So now our 7-year-old, he loves to come home and just like go to town on. And I think after school, he's got like a lot of pent up energy that he needs to get out. So he'll play it for about 20 minutes. It's fun. It's fun.
That's awesome. For anybody saying, wow, you guys are so off course, we're not because customer experience is about making things fun and exciting and interactive and engaging. And if doing business with you felt more like playing a game or having fun, you would make more money and your customers would tell more of their friends.
Absolutely. Love that. That's a great segue. Brittany, there's a lot of companies though that's not making their experiences fun. And I think it's just really kind of a sign of the discipline of where we are, and where I think the consumer behavior is demanding just something completely different that we're just not delivering on. And so when you think about one of those topics in CX right now, like what is one that's just making you absolutely cringe?
I think one that makes me cringe is companies that aren't doing enough to close the gap between what was promised to a customer and what was delivered to a customer, and making it the customer's problem that their expectations not only went unmet, but they are now dealing with the aftermath of trying to get to whatever the restitution needs to be to right that wrong. And it creates so many headaches, so many hurdles, so many roadblocks, that what oftentimes happen is a customer goes from being disappointed to disgruntled, and then they're telling everyone in the world like what a horrible company your company is. And this is true of, giant companies, this is true of smaller companies, but it's, you as someone in a position of power could not just shrug when especially when like an explicit promise, but even when an implied promise goes unmet, you cannot be dismissive of the disappointment from the customers on the receiving end of those experiences.
I think this is, well, I think it's absolutely timely, right? Because we just got off the holiday season, all of those online orders, the delivery promises, were they fulfilled? How did it come? And I think, of course, every industry has those promises that they have to meet.
Mhm.
But I think it's one like, I don't know. I as a practitioner, to me, it was always our goal of, okay, here's our customer expectations. Here's the promises we're going to set to it. It's a brand promise. It wasn't like, can we just even just meet the minimum expectation? But like, how do we deliver above and beyond it? I hate surprise and delights. I'm not going to fucking use that. So just how do we deliver and exceed it? Why do you think so many brands just can't nail it?
I think because there are a lot of complexities that exist, and a lot of people. Okay, so the thing that I think people are going to look back at and absolutely cringe decades from now when they look at this moment in time, probably from like .com to AI, let's call it, and they're going to say like, what the fuck were people thinking? Why did anybody think that was a good way to like organize a business and run a company? This is a very scientific term. Are you ready for it, Zach? I'm going to go scientific
Yeah,
scholar here.
do it.
uh the over-siloification,
Oh,
to use the correct term, the over-siloification of departments and teams, right? So you have all these people that are like, I am the SDR. I am the salesperson. I am the engineer. I am the onboarding person. I am the ops person. I am the market. Everybody is like, this is my thing. And so no one is taking ownership cross departmentally. Nobody is thinking big picture. And a customer does not, from the outside look in, look at your company and see a salesperson, a marketing person, an ops person, fill in the blank. They see an acting chief of experience who needs to fix their problem because it's your fucking job to fix their problem. That is what a customer.
me, wait, girl. It gosh, I like this over siloification term, if I pronounced it
Trademark. Thank
right.
you.
Trademark. It's just like the me bounds from Angel Reese, if you know what I'm talking about, where she trademarked.
Yes.
But I,
But that's
I,
like literally never in the real world would you say to someone like, "Oh, that was a different person's problem. My bad. I'm sorry that I've bothered you at your job." Right? Like you don't care, you just want it fixed. But I feel like there's so much happening inside companies where people are like, "Not my fault, not my problem, not my thing." And so what happens is all of these details are missed. All of these things fall through the cracks. And it's like cumulatively over time, it's been well, what's the lowest common denominator? What's like the least minimally viable product that we can not just deliver for now and then improve upon, but get away with selling to people and continue to like, you know, pay our shareholders every quarter?
you know, it's so interesting that you're saying this because I agree 100%. Is I was leading this community group a couple weeks ago, and it was really about how do we win more influence within our organization, right? Because even as a chief experience officer, yes, we need to own it and fix our shit, but let's just be honest, like we don't own the decision making, the capital, the resources, like all those things. Like I have to win through influence. And so I was talking to a lot of CX leaders, and I'm like, how, like, okay, everyone's struggling with winning through influence. Help me understand, like, when you see insights that are creating negative experiences, what does that conversation look like between you and your peer? And it was typically like, oh, well, I'm putting it on a report and I talk about it in the ELT meeting. And I'm like, great. Let me ask you, like, did you give a heads up to your peer of, hey, look, here's the insights I'm going to read out in front of the CEO. I want you to be aware that there's probably two frictions that's popping up from your department. They're going to be called out. No, I didn't. And I said, okay, put yourself in their shoes. If this happened, how would you feel? And they're like, well, I feel like I got called out in front of the CEO. And I'm like, so would you want to team up with the CXO? Like, would you want to collaborate with them? Like, and they're like, no, I'd basically tell them to fuck off. And I'm like, that's what's happening to you. Like the way that you're showing up is preventing you of getting customer frictions solved where you can deliver better experiences.
100%. Yeah, there's a difference between being an advocate for the customer and like the metrics police.
Yeah, I call it the NPS police.
Yes.
Or a lot of
Okay.
times,
Do you want my well, I was gonna say, do you want my
your
NPS
NPS
hot take?
dropped. Can you fix it, please?
Yeah. Okay, I don't think I've ever said this publicly anywhere. I don't know if I should or
Well,
not.
this is the podcast to say it publicly.
Okay. Um, and I like when somebody was like wanted to fight me on this when I said it somewhere in like a group setting, and I was like, "You want to go? I'm ready to go." Here's what I think of NPS. NPS is the iceberg lettuce of CX. Wildly popular, but why? Why? Why is it everywhere? You look closely, no nutritional value. Nobody particularly likes it. It's just everywhere, right? It is the iceberg lettuce of CX.
I love it. You can say that on here all you
Can I?
want because I was one of the first retailers that, as a client from Adalia, where I dropped NPS. I even got a death threat on LinkedIn about a year ago because I made a post about how NPS is the entryway drug to cocaine.
Tell me more.
And then I compared it to the drug cartel,
Okay.
where everyone just gets hooked on NPS and we don't really understand why. But it feels so good because we can talk about it and we seem really, really smart and educated. And we never want to get off of it. And then the consultants just keep feeding us like NPS and NPS. And, you listen to conferences and you go here and you go there, and all the success stories are about our NPS increased. And so it's like this huge drug cartel just feeding us all cocaine, and we're just hooked and we can't get off of it.
Okay, so hear me out. I think A, I love that. B, all right, so this is another thing I probably shouldn't say publicly. If I were not afraid of fentanyl, like I would totally probably do cocaine. I've never done cocaine, but I've always been like the idea of a drug that makes you more productive, like sign me up for all of that. Like I get it, right? And I think probably back in the day before cocaine was like being, like before like there was probably some good before the bad, but like people abused it. People used it the wrong way. Things got out of hand. Like NPS, right? Back in the day, perhaps was a good tool when people used it responsibly, when people used it in moderation, when people didn't try to
Yeah.
game it for their own goods because they cared more about the score than they cared about the outcome.
Love it. I'll say this before we get to the player tips. So I love my kids. I have a 13-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 7-year-old. And my 13-year-old, they were talking about drugs and that type of thing in health class. And so she was like, Dad, have you ever done drugs? Innocent conversation, right? And I was like, honestly, no. Actually, I never have done drugs because one, like when college was in, I was on a tennis scholarship, so I was afraid to lose my scholarship. And then two, my mom is such a badass, I was afraid to get my ass whooped by her if she found out I was doing drugs. But then I had Sirius Radio and Californication came on. And I was like, but if I were to do drugs, it would be to this song. Like
And
it's
did
just
she know the song? Was she like, I can respect that, Dad. Thanks for sharing.
she kind of just looked at me and was like, Dad, I think actually she said, your aura's off or something like that, probably.
You'll have to do some aura farming to fix that.
Some of these terms that they talk about, I'm just like, I, f- uh, I can't keep up. But I love where this is going. I love how we're playing playful and fun about this.
Well,
But
because you have to, right? Like I said, if everybody approached their job the way we approach games,
yeah,
people would love their jobs more. And if you have apathetic teammates, you will never have or you will never have engaged customers, right? Like if your
yeah,
employees don't care, your customers never will. And so I think
yeah,
everybody, whether you're in CX or not, has to find a way to bring that playfulness, bring that energy, do it in a way obviously that's authentic and appropriate to your job. Maybe don't talk about cocaine to your direct reports, but what can you do to bring more fun, more energy, more
yeah,
excitement into a role? Because for most of us, what we're doing is not life or death. Like the stakes are not super high.
no.
And I think the single biggest threat that most companies face that they give no attention to is apathy. Like
Ugh,
it's not that your customers are thinking of other people more higher, like, or better than you. Like they're just not thinking about you at all. Like you're
yeah.
like a nothing burger to them. And that is what you have to fix.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we think about, okay, closing the gap on what you've promised, and even just having more fun at work, we'll throw those both in there. What's the first player tip to our listeners? Like, how do they actually get this done?
So ask yourself, what is it that we want to be known for being the best in the world at? Like, why do we deserve our super fans? Like, why do we deserve for our customers to turn into super fans? Like,
Hmm.
what is it that we are doing that merits someone not only continuing to give us their money, their time, etc., but to also tell their friends? Because if you don't have clarity on that, if everyone on your team isn't in alignment about that, you are almost by definition a commodity provider that is replaceable, that could be overlooked for things like price, time, distance, well, like whatever. Like, how do you go from being a commodity provider to a category of one? And it starts by asking yourself, what is the thing that we are so good at that like anybody would be crazy to not come to us for our thing?
And I think, yes, I love this. And I think what's so important about this is when you execute that at such an incredible level, it doesn't matter if you have to charge a delivery fee as a retailer for it, right? Like, I think everyone's just trying to be the Amazon of the world and compete with them. And to your point, yes, we all love the Amazon experience. They deliver on their promises. Like, very rarely does Amazon not deliver on their promise. But like, we can't all be Amazon.
Nobody listening to this will ever out Amazon Amazon. Full stop. You
No.
cannot out Amazon Amazon. So don't try to play a game that you won't win. Make the rules for what it is that you can do different, that you can do better. Learn from them, but then give it your own spin. It's like, remember on like American Idol and all those other shows back in the day where somebody would say like you sound like a cruise ship lounge singer. Simon Cowell would be like you're forgettable, you're a nothing burger. Yes, you have a great voice, but like who cares? I've already forgotten you. Versus the ones who would have like a really cool new spin. They put their own identity on a song. They turned it into like a cabaret song when it was a pop song or whatever. Like you will not out Amazon Amazon. You
Yeah.
are not going to win by having like a third-rate bar band Lady Gaga cover. How can you use what makes you special and unique and different to reinterpret the thing that people love to make 1 + 1 = 5?
I think that's an incredible first player tip. Decide what you want to be known for and just fucking execute it. What's player tip number two?
Player tip number two is choose your team wisely, right?
Mm.
Like, who are the people that you want to be playing with day after day after day? What's the famous? I'm gonna mess the quote up, but Chick-fil-A. Like, I don't hire people and teach them to smile. I hire people who smile in the interview and teach them to sell chicken.
And they're incredible, right? Living 9 years in Atlanta, like incredible. Like I got to rub elbows with folks who hired the talent at Chick-fil-A, and they said you wouldn't believe the number of people we actually turn away because when they walk in to interview, they're not even smiling. Like they basically watch people from like their cars walking in. And their goal is if they see a customer who's coming in and ordering chicken and they don't have a smile on their face, how do we make them smile before they walk out of the restaurant? Like that's one of their goals. And so when they see that person coming in and they want to interview and they're like, you're not even smiling. And how can you be excited for the job?
So important.
So important. Pick your team wisely. What's the third player tip?
Um, don't, this is for leaders, don't allow yourself to get bored or fall into the like next shiny object trap, especially for entrepreneurs and leaders or people with ADHD or who suspect they have ADHD. It's so easy to, without realizing you're doing it, stop doing something that works because you get excited about trying something new or different. And I always say, as a reminder to myself as well, repetition isn't boring, it's branding. You have to keep doing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again the things that work. Yes, you can refine them. Yes, you can improve on them, but don't abandon something that's working just because you're bored, because it may be brand new and a huge important part of your competitive differentiation to lots and lots and lots of customers who only experience it once a month, even though you're experiencing it, 83 times a day.
It's one, I think that's probably, you hear companies all the time say, we're going to go back to basics. And what you're talking about are just nail the basics, right? And the basics sure can seem boring when they're repetitive. But to your point, like, that's the brand. And I couldn't tell you how many retail earnings calls I've listened to when their stock is starting to underperform, and the CEO is like, "We're going to go back to basics." It's like every 2 years they're going back to basics. We're going to go back to basics. Why do you like? I get it. Everyone always wants to chase the shiny object, but is there a way to make the basics fun?
Yes, there is a way to make the basics fun by gamifying them. To go back to the recurring apparent theme of this episode, um, you know, like because we know that the teams that shoot free throws well win championships. The teams that shoot pointers well win champion. Like you've got to get good at the things that you can control. You've got to control the controllables. You've got to be good at those everyday things. So how can you make it fun? How can you engage people? Gamify it. Right? Like maybe you get a tally mark for every customer complaint that you heard that was the exact same that day. Maybe, every time somebody forgot their password and needed it reset, get like punch a punch card, whatever it is. Like you can track anything in a way that gamifies it, that makes it fun, that makes it exciting and engaging, and also helps people keep their eye on that ball, right? It's like, we're recording this in January. Fitness tracking, right? It's like one of those things that we all know at the beginning of the year. What happens when you start tracking your calories in a tracking app? You eat less because it makes you think like, am I really going to have this chocolate caramel thing? Because then I'm going to have to admit that I just had 130 calories of whatever it is, right? Because you're seeing it in front of you in that app. Same with walking, right? If you're like counting your steps and paying attention, you're probably going to walk a little more. Not because your day is different, not because the things are different, but because you're paying attention to it. So you've got to find a way to get the basics in front of people on whatever dashboard or KPI tracker that they're looking at in a way that they can see, but that also makes it fun. So maybe every 100th time they do whatever, they get a prize.
Yeah, and I think for our audience, I think when you talk about the basics, right? The basics is like the entry level of experience to your brand. If you can't nail the basics, you will never be able to connect with them on a deeper level because trust is not going to get earned, right? It's like all these things, it comes back to the basic experiences. Can I log into my account when I need to? Does your checkout flow work appropriately? Like some of these basic things that you're just like, uh, this is coming up again. It's like the gateway to the loyalty. It's gateway to super fans.
Well, and also if those basics are difficult, people will just move up. I can't tell you the number of times that there have been, and this is more in like service provider world, but there's been somebody who like, I've really enjoyed whatever the service is, whether they're a facialist or a hairstylist or whatever. But if I have to like call you on the phone to make an appointment, it's never going to happen. I'm not coming back because there are 27 other people who are almost as good as you that I can do it at 10 p.m. on my phone in 2 seconds by pressing two buttons. And so it's also looking like going back to basics of saying, what are the ways in which people interact with our brand, and how can we help people choose their own adventure so that it feels one size fits one, because that is about as basic as it gets. Make it easy for me to give you my money. Make it easy for me to be able to do business with you.
It's such a great reminder. Like I just thought of this. Like I have two barbers. I typically go to the barber that's a 10-minute drive further, $11 more a haircut, but I can set an appointment in the app versus just showing up, waiting 35, 40 minutes to sit in a chair. Like so spot on. Brittany, this has been probably one of the most fun conversations where we think about it. Service gaps, cocaine, basketball, pop a shot,
There are
fun.
a few things that I hope don't get clipped and shared that I've said without the context of our conversation. Yes, that is the mark of a good conversation where you're like, it doesn't sound great out of context.
No, 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 no. I would never do that. I
No,
would
I'm talking
never.
about other people. I'm talking about the internet. But
Oh,
yes, no, this has been
yes.
so
I'll
fun.
never break the trust tree with you. Brittany, if any of our listeners, one, just want to have fun conversation with you or go deeper, even, about superfans, where can they find you?
Well, probably at a Dave and Buster's,
That's right.
or you can find me at brittanyhodak.com. There you'll get information on all of the things. The book is called Creating Superfans. It's available everywhere books are sold.
Yes. And it's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Come back to the hot seat soon.
I'll do it.
Cheers.